Some very disturbing scenes overnight from Serbia, where LRADs, long-range acoustic devices, were being used against civilians. You can see here in this video people hearing a terrible noise, being frightened and actually scattering. Now, it's interesting that the Serbian government has denied using LRADs, and they've basically said that the use of such military-grade equipment is illegal and a breach of human rights in Serbia. Well, that sort of certainly comes of interest to us here down in Australia, because those LRADs were used against citizens in Canberra, peaceful protesters protesting against vaccine mandates and lockdowns. I asked a question of the Speaker here in Parliament back in 2022 if he could confirm that they were being used. Just have a listen to this.
The member for Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question to you is based upon your authority under the Parliamentary Precincts Act of 1988, which gives the presiding officers the responsibility for control and management of the Parliament House and its immediate surroundings. Last Saturday, the 12th of February, Canberra witnessed the largest ever protest in the nation's capital, when many tens of thousands of Australians travelled from...
The member for Hughes, this is not an opportunity to make a statement. Do you have a question for me?
I do, Mr. Speaker.
Just get straight to the question, please.
During that protest, can the Speaker confirm if the AFP positioned one or more long-range acoustic devices in the parliamentary precincts with the intention that it be used as a sonic weapon against protesters that included nurses, school teachers and paramedics? Did the AFP seek approval from the presiding officers to deploy such a device? And was the long-range acoustic device used against the protesters on that day?
Order. I'll report back to the House on that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In due course.
And that heckling that you hear is actually 10 times louder in real life. We had members of the Labor Party and the Liberal Party laughing their heads off, thinking it was somehow funny that Australian citizens may have been targeted with military-grade sonic weapons, and that's what they are. They are sonic weapons, otherwise known as LRADs. And the members of the Labor and Liberal Party were in there laughing and sneering and heckling at my question. Well, a few days later, on the 1st of March 2022, the Speaker gave me a written reply to that question, which you can see here. And the Speaker confirmed that on that particular day, during that particular protest, that LRADs were deployed against Australian citizens. But they gave the excuse that, oh no, they were only used to convey spoken word messages. Really? I was there. I didn't hear any spoken word messages coming from those LRADs. I'm yet to find anybody in the crowd that was there on that day that heard any so-called spoken word messages. In fact, there were other citizens that filmed these LRADs being deployed in different parts of the parliamentary quadrangle area. Just have also a look at this video.
And you send your little goons. You've got a uniform of pride on, mate, and I know that you put it on because you do it with honour, and I respect that. And so I'm asking, don't treat us like crap like that. That wasn't cool.
What sort of weapon is that?
It
looks like a sonic weapon. Is that going to give us the shits or something?
No, it's like a high frequency. It messes with
Well, thank you for sharing that. I love your toys. I wish you'd use it overseas on enemies of the state, not on you know, law-abiding peaceful protesters.
So it looks like we may never get to the truth of what actually happened here in Australia with the use of those military-grade weapons. But we note from Serbia that their Prime Minister has said that the use of those weapons is a breach of human rights and it is illegal in Serbia. Well, I'd say it should be illegal here in Australia. Such military-grade weapons should not be deployed against Australian citizens engaged in peaceful protests. We need some type of regulation on this. We've seen the police recently being completely out of control, firing at citizens with rubber bullets, innocent citizens engaged in peaceful protests, fleeing through a public park that were targeted by police and shot in the back with rubber bullets. That's not the Australia that I grew up in. That's not the Australia that I believe in. And likewise, these sonic weapons, these military-grade sonic weapons simply should not be deployed in areas where they can potentially be used against peaceful protesters. And that's exactly what those protests were in Canberra. They were peaceful protests. It can only be in the most of extreme circumstances, in fact, if at all, that they should be rolled out against Australian citizens. I personally would like to see a ban upon that. There is no need in 2025 for those type of weapons to be deployed against Australian citizens. And to the Liberal and Labor members of Parliament that laughed and heckled and thought it was funny, Sam, you've got that on your conscience, my friends, because you laughed and heckled that Australian human rights were being violated all throughout the COVID period. No wonder so many people are walking away from the major two parties.
Can the Speaker confirm if the AFP positioned one or more long-range acoustic devices in the parliamentary precincts with the intention that it be used as a sonic weapon against protesters that included nurses, school teachers and paramedics? Did the AFP seek approval from the presiding officers to deploy such a device? And was the long-range acoustic device used against the protesters on that day?
Order. Order. I'll report back to the House on that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In due course.